everyone, welcome back to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 331, and today's topic is relationships 1. Let's talk about age difference or age differences. Let's say, for example, a man and a woman are dating. Or these two could be married, for example, but there could be a huge, meaning a very big age difference between the two. We're talking about the years apart. We're talking about how much older one person is compared to the other person. So we see plenty of people dating. They can be the same age. The man could be younger than the woman. In some cases, the man is 20 years older and the woman is, of course, 20 years younger, or vice versa as well. We see people dating each other. We see people married to each other, and there often is a huge age difference. I don't know what you think about that, but some people view that negatively. Some people say, hey, what's wrong with that? I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that either. As long as you're in love and you understand each other and you care for each other, I don't think that age should really matter in a relationship. That's my opinion. Anyhow, that is our topic for today. If you're ready, let's get started.
So my dad and my stepmom came to visit Korea last week, which was amazing for me, showing people around and stuff. But when they left yesterday, some of my friends sent me text messages and they were like, wow, there's a big age difference between your mum and your dad. And I was like, yeah, I suppose there is an age difference, but there's 10 years age difference between them.
Okay.
But my dad's 60 and my mum's 50. So in that aspect, it's not really that big of a difference, I think.
I don't think that's so dramatic. I have family friends who have more like 20 years difference.
Wow.
That's stretching it, I think, a bit. I mean, what's most important is that you have a healthy relationship and a healthy respect for each other. I think openness and communication is important. And if you make each other happy, that's kind of all that matters.
Yeah.
But there is a biological aspect that comes in. So if you have a 60-year-old man who's marrying a 30-year-old woman, and maybe he already has a family, maybe it's his second marriage, does that woman want to have children? Does that man want to deal with diapers again?
At 60 years old, it's a big ask, isn't it? Yeah, it's something that when you think about it from that aspect, it's quite difficult to look at. Also maturity level as well.
Right.
Like a 60-year-old guy and a 50-year-old woman, there's not really that much difference in age and maturity, but a 30-year-old man and a 20-year-old woman, for instance,
right,
or 25, 15.
The life experience is so different.
Yeah, so much different. I think that's something to be a little bit more aware of. But as you get older, I think age difference kind of negates itself a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay, that was today's actual talk conversation. What did you think about it? Well, we got some new information about Martin. He's told us about his parents and how many years apart were his parents? What was the age difference between his mother and his father? He said that his mom and dad were 10 years apart. There is a 10-year age difference, right? So his father is 60 and his mother is 50. I think that, our parents, sure, 10 years, that's not really a big age difference. But among younger couples, among younger people, we are seeing a lesser or a smaller age difference or an age gap between couples, right? These days, the younger generation, we even see older women marrying younger men, or we see people the same age getting married to each other. It's kind of old-fashioned to marry a man that's 10 years older, but it still does happen. Anyhow, let's take a look at the conversation. So once again, Martin says, my dad and my stepmom came to visit Korea last week. So these two came to visit Korea. What happened? Which was amazing for me, showing people around and stuff. So he had an amazing experience. He's saying that he had a good time showing people around, meaning taking them to this place, to that place, traveling with them, touring, going on tours with them, visiting different locations, taking them to all these different places. So he had an amazing time with his parents. But when they left yesterday, so his mom and his stepmom left, went back home yesterday, and some of my friends sent me text messages, and they were like, meaning they said, wow, there's a big age difference between your mom and your dad. This is a text message that he got from many of his friends. So his friends sent him text messages saying, wow, there's a huge age difference between your mom and your dad. Okay? And I don't know. How would you feel? I don't think it's a big deal, but he's just talking about his friends' reactions. This is the type of text message they sent him. Of course, the friends that actually had the chance to see his parents. And so Mary says, really? Here we go. Martin says, I suppose that there is an age difference. Now, there could be an age difference. There can be a 10-year age difference, a 2-year age difference, not 2 years, but a 1-year age difference, a 5-year age difference, a 20-year age difference, okay? So I suppose there is an age difference. There's a 10-year, see, year in the singular form, age difference between them. My dad's 60 and my mom's 50, okay? So in that aspect, it's not really that big of a difference. It's not a big difference. 10 years, that's nothing actually. So when we say aspect, we're talking about a way in which something is thought, believed, or even viewed, okay? Interpreted, for example. So aspect could be that. Sometimes it can also mean a view, just a part of something. An aspect of something is just a part of something, but we're talking about a way in which something can be viewed or interpreted. So, yes, he's talking about the age difference, which happens to be a 10-year age difference between his mom and his dad. Here we go, Mary says, I don't think that's so dramatic. She's talking about the 10-year age difference. Now, we went over this word quite recently, I think, dramatic. When you say that something is dramatic, what are you saying? If you describe something to be dramatic, like a situation or anything, you're saying that it's very shocking, for example, very surprising, because it usually happens suddenly. So if something happens all of a sudden, unexpectedly, and it surprises you, it shocks you, you can say, wow, it's dramatic. Like a drama, okay? Wow, that's dramatic. So she's saying, it's not so dramatic. What's the big deal, okay? I have friends, family friends, meaning friends of family, okay, who have more like a 20-year difference. A 20-year age difference would be a lot clearer, okay, easier to understand. So she's talking about a 20-year age difference. And she says, and that's stretching it. What does she mean by that? Here we go. That's today's pattern. If you say, that's stretching it, imagine, okay, we have a rubber band. Or imagine I'm holding a rubber band. You could pull it to this side and the other end to this side. You're stretching it, you're stretching it, you're stretching it, okay? So simply put, you are extending something, elongating something, making something longer, okay? You're stretching something. But often when you say that, somebody is stretching it. You're referring to what he or she has said. In that case, you're saying, you're overreacting. You're overdoing it. Hey, that's too much, okay? So usually, if you go over a limit, you can say, that's stretching it, Okay, overdoing something could be stretching something. So since she mentioned a 20-year age difference, she says, no, that's stretching it. I guess it's not really a 20-year age difference, maybe something less than that. And she says, what's most important is that you have a healthy relationship and healthy respect for each other. So what's important? The relationship and respect for each other is very important. It is the most important thing in a relationship. Everything needs to be healthy, meaning good, okay? Good for each other. So age does not matter. What Mary is saying is that as long as you have a very happy, healthy relationship and have respect for one another, there's nothing more important. She says, I think openness and communication is important. And if you make each other happy, that's all that matters, which is very true. If you make each other happy, okay, if you satisfy each other, if you make each other happy, that should be all that matters. But here, let's take a look at openness, okay? Communication, we all know, okay? It's all about talking to each other, expressing your feelings, sharing your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions with each other. But what is openness? Imagine you open the door for somebody, okay? You're inviting people to come in. So if you say openness, you're letting other people in. You're inviting people. To be able to do that, you must be honest, right? So openness, we're talking about being honest and being open to others, meaning being able to express your thoughts, wanting to express your feelings and thoughts with others, wanting to share with others, and not wanting to hide anything. Okay? If you want to hide anything, you're not being open. So openness is being open, okay? Open and not wanting to hide anything. Okay, and she says, but there is a biological aspect that comes in, something that happens very naturally. So if you have a 60-year-old man who is marrying a 30-year-old woman, okay, imagine this situation. And maybe he already has a family. He already has a family, meaning he already has children. Maybe it's his second marriage, okay? Maybe he got divorced, maybe his wife passed away, so it's his second marriage and he has children. But the age difference is what? There's a 30-year age difference. The man is 60 and the woman is 30. She says, does that woman want to have children? Does that man want to have to deal with diapers again? All right, so these are two very important questions, okay? So she has given us a situation. These two, they're going to get married. There is a 30-year age difference between the two, okay? The man's 60 once again, and the woman is 30. The man already has children of his own from his first marriage. So in that case, does this 30-year-old woman want to have children with this man? And does this man want to start changing diapers all over again at age 60? Okay, so she's asking these questions. Deal with means what? To be concerned with, to manage, to handle, okay, to be troubled with something. So does he want to go through all that trouble and change a baby's diapers all again, she asks. Well, here we go. Martin says, at 60 years old, it's a big task, meaning it's not easy. Also, the maturity level is something important. This is what you should also think about. Maturity, we're talking about something being fully developed, okay? We can talk about fruits and vegetables being completely mature, but in this case, we're talking about people. Maturity in people, meaning being a responsible adult, for example, okay? So that's also very important. A 60-year-old guy and a 50-year-old woman, there's not really that much difference in age and maturity because we're talking about 60 and 50. We only have a 10-year age difference. But a 30-year-old man And a 20-year-old woman, for instance, or 25 and 15. Okay, maybe this is something to compare. Now, we're talking about how things are very different. And Mary says the life experience is so different. She's talking about all the experiences that people go through in life. Just because you're older doesn't mean that you have experienced much more in life. Young people have many experiences too. Some, have a very difficult life, and they may have experienced more difficulty in life. So we can't say that older people have more experience, but we're talking about the different experiences in life. So moving on, Morton says, yeah, so much different. I think that's something to be a little bit more aware of. Okay? You need to be aware of something, conscious of something. You need to know about something. So he's saying that's something to always keep in mind, to be aware of. But as you get older, as we age, as we get older, I think the age difference kind of negates itself. Okay, negate. Negate, negate, means to nullify. Kind of bring something down to a zero level, okay? Negate, we'll go over that again later on, but he's saying, it becomes nothing as we get older. Age, it's really nothing important. As we get older and older, age does not matter that much, okay? Nullify, negate is a synonym for that. And Mary seems to agree, so she says exactly. Okay, now with everything in mind, everyone, let's take a listen to actual talk one more time.
So my dad and my stepmom came to visit Korea last week, which was amazing for me, showing people around and stuff. But when they left yesterday, some of my friends sent me text messages and they were like, wow, there's a big age difference between your mum and your dad. And I was like, yeah, I suppose there is an age difference, but there's 10 years age difference between them.
Okay.
But my dad's 60 and my mum's 50. So in that aspect, it's not really that big of a difference, I think.
I don't think that's so dramatic. I have family friends who have more like 20 years difference.
Wow.
That's stretching it, I think, a bit. I mean, what's most important is that you have a healthy relationship and a healthy respect for each other. I think openness and communication is important. And if you make each other happy, that's kind of all that matters.
Yeah.
But there is a biological aspect that comes in. So if you have a 60-year-old man who's marrying a 30-year-old woman, and maybe he already has a family, maybe it's his second marriage, does that woman want to have children? Does that man want to have to deal with diapers again?
At 60 years old, it's a big ask, isn't it? Yeah, it's something that when you think about it from that aspect, it's quite difficult to look at. Also maturity level as well.
Right.
Like a 60-year-old guy and a 50-year-old woman, there's not really that much difference in age and maturity, but a 30-year-old man and a 20-year-old woman, for instance,
right,
or 25, 15.
The life experience is so different.
Yeah, so much different. I think that's something to be a little bit more aware of. But as you get older, I think age difference kind of negates itself a little bit.
Exactly.
Here we go, everyone. It's time for actual expressions. Are you ready? Okay, then, here we go. The first word we have for you is aspect. Aspect. Here we go. The stress goes on the first syllable. Aspect. Aspect. We're talking about view, situation, the way in which we view something or interpret something. So that could be an aspect, okay? Dramatic. Here we go. Stress goes on the second syllable. Dramatic. Dramatic. It means climactic is another synonym for that. When we see something that happened suddenly, and it's often very shocking and surprising, we can say that something is dramatic, okay? Moving on to openness. Openness. We're talking about frankness, honesty, truthfulness, okay? It's all about being honest and not lying to people, not wanting to lie or hide anything from people, okay? That is openness. Maturity, we're talking about what? Maturation. Experience is another one, or experience. We're talking about, I guess, full development. That's maturity. And aware, okay? This can be an adjective. You can also be aware of something, okay, which means to be conscious of something, to know. So attentive and conscious. And negate, here's our final vocab word, negate. Negate, as I said, as if something becomes zero, nothing, means to cancel out, invalidate, okay? All right, with these vocab words in mind, let's move on to our first pattern for today. If you say to someone, that's stretching it, what are you saying? It can mean, hey, you're exaggerating, you're going overboard, you're overdoing it. Think of expanding something, stretching something, okay? So if you expand something, if you do so much of something over a limit or to an unacceptable limit, then you are stretching it. Exaggerating is another way of putting it. So, I heard everyone calling Jimmy a genius because he fixed the sink. Now, would you call somebody a genius because he or she fixed the sink? I wouldn't, okay? It's an easy task. So B says, now, that's stretching it. That's overdoing it. Hey, that's an exaggeration. He's not a genius. He only fixed the sink. Got it? Okay, good job. To deal with something means what? To be concerned with something. It can also mean to manage or handle something. Take care of something. To deal with something. So here is a sample sentence. These books deal with Dutch art. In this case, it means to be concerned with. Okay? So the book is concerned with Dutch art, meaning it is about Dutch art. These books deal with Dutch art. You'll find Dutch art in these books, is another way of putting it. Okay, job well done, everyone. Practice some more on your own.
Have you heard the phrase, age is nothing but a number? That means that it doesn't matter how old you are, as long as two people love each other, then they could be in a relationship, they can be happy. And I don't know, I kind of agree, but I kind of don't agree. I feel like more than 10 years, there's a generational gap. Like the older person knows things that the younger person might not necessarily be as familiar with. So there is that little gap. But at the same time, as long as you have a lot in common and you have many things to talk about, then maybe there's no problem. And as long as you have a good friendship, then I guess it could work regardless of how old each other are. But I did know one couple where the husband was quite older than the wife, and when they talked about some things that she didn't really understand, he would kind of tease her and say, oh, you're just a baby, you don't know about that, you're too young. And I could see that created some kind of tension between the relationship. So I don't know. It can work, but there's also a possibility for those awkward moments as well.
And that was Whitney from the US of America helping us out with today's actual story. Okay, well, let's take a look at what she's mentioned. Here we go. Age is nothing but a number. This you will come across quite often, and there is an exact expression in Korean, and I'll tell you age. We're talking about 나이 in Korean, right? 나이는 숫자에 불과하다. Age is nothing but a number. Age is nothing but a number. Meaning age, well, it's just a number. Means nothing more than that. Moving on. I feel like in more than 10 years, okay, in more than 10 years, there's a generational gap, okay? Generational gap. So she's saying if there is more than a 10-year age difference, then maybe that is a big age gap, a huge age gap. But if not, hey, age is nothing but a number. I can see that created some kind of tension between their relationship. Some kind of tension, okay? We're talking about people that date each other or are married, and there is a big age difference, if you cannot understand each other, if you can't share with one another, if you have difficulty enjoying things together, then there could be a problem, okay? There could be some tension, stress created between their relationship, okay? And then it can work, but there's also a possibility. So what can work? The relationship can work. It can be okay, but there is also a possibility, a chance for those awkward moments, very uncomfortable moments as well. So she's made some good points. Age is nothing but a number. As long as you love each other and can enjoy each other's company, there shouldn't be a problem. But sometimes, yes, there could be some very uncomfortable or awkward moments. There is that possibility. Okay, keeping that in mind, let's take a listen one more time.
Have you heard the phrase, age is nothing but a number? That means that it doesn't matter how old you are, as long as two people love each other, then they could be in a relationship, they can be happy. And I don't know, I kind of agree, but I kind of don't agree. I feel like more than 10 years, there's a generational gap. Like, the older person knows things that the younger person might not necessarily be as familiar with. So there is that little gap. But at the same time, as long as you have a lot in common and you have many things to talk about, then maybe there's no problem. And as long as you have a good friendship, then I guess it could work regardless of how old each other are. But I did know one couple where the husband was quite older than the wife, and when they talked about some things that she didn't really understand, he would kind of tease her and say, oh, you're just a baby, you don't know about that, you're too young. And I could see that created some kind of tension between the relationship. So I don't know. It can work, but there's also a possibility for those awkward moments as well.
Well, what did you think about today's lesson, everyone? We talked about age differences. So the next time you want to talk about age, how many years apart you are from somebody, you can say there is a 2-year age difference between us. There is a 5-year age difference between us. So that is one new expression we learned today, right? So you can talk about you and your sister, you and your brother, the age difference between you and your mother, or even the age difference between your mother and father. I mean, age is something we can always talk about, right? But as Whitney did mention, I think age is nothing but a number. Okay, anyhow, that was our lesson today. Let's move on to relationships 2 next time, and let's focus on youth dating. We're going to be talking about dating when we were a lot younger, perhaps in our teenage years. So please do look forward to that. In the meantime, come to our homepage, everyone. Come on over to www.ebse.co.kr. Once you're there, look for Actual English with Jennifer and post up your thoughts or comments, questions on our message board. And make use of our scripts that we upload onto our homepage as well. So please do make use of them. All right, that is a wrap for today's lesson, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you again next time. Until then, take care and bye for now.